Welcome to the Rotary Club of Bearden. We'd like to welcome all of our guests and Rotarians, visited Rotarians today. We'll start with our song. Janice, here she comes.
Just in case that America may not be a little bit more beautiful after the winds come, when everything in your yard is now a missile, I thought we would sing America the Beautiful, so we can cheer each other up. So here we go. Oh, let's see, what pitch should I do?
What key is it?
Right here.
Any key.
D. Let's start with D. Oh, beautiful. That's the first word. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Thank you.
Monty has the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Invocation by Roy.
Let's bow our heads, please. Dear Lord, thank you that we can enter your presence here at Rotary today. Thank you for your supreme sacrifice to save us from our sins and bring life. Thank you for allowing our hearts to dwell in your presence so that we can receive your mercy, your grace, and truth. Thank you for our speaker today from Junior Achievement, who can show us just one more way that Rotary can serve our community. Thank you for the resources and the provisions that make Rotary possible. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Update on Reader's Day. If you're signed up to read at Pine Gap, school is out, so you have the afternoon off. So, but we do have an open news for the next several weeks. We are March 17th, spring break, and April 7th is Good Friday, so no reading that day, but we'll send the board around. Still need a few readers for those other weeks. Also, just a reminder, April 15th, casino night. So get your tickets, get them early. We have a great meal prepared and a lot of fun activities. So there's information on your table, so please take that, and you can call me if you have any questions. And at this time, I want to bring Janice up. She has a few things to fill us in on mobile meals. And
Yes, visitors.
Oh, yeah, you want to do guests and visitors first?
yes, I do. Thank you. Steve Cobb is going to do visitors and guests with us today.
Silence your papers, too.
Does he have the sheet?
Yes.
I still want to have Callie Benito as my guest today, but I don't think that would be good. But Callie, you did bring a guest who's been here more than you've been so far this year. This will be my last time doing this.
This is my daughter, Aubrey. She's the baby of the family. She is a speech-language pathologist and works for Sidekick Therapy Partners, but she's planted in the Scott County school system to work with their elementary and middle school kids. And she has the day off today because of the coming winter, so I brought her with me.
Alan, you're up next.
This is my office manager and cohort, Susan Moser. She's done a lot of good work for me, but we work with Callie a little bit up at Junior Achievement, so I thought Susan would want to come see what she has to say today. So, Susan?
Great job. And Mr. Carey? Martin Daniel is your guest.
Okay.
Martin, would you stand up and tell us a little about yourself?
I'll take that.
I'm crossing your offer.
Am I supposed to introduce Martin?
Please.
Huh?
I'll just tell you what I know. Martin and I go way back. We were in school together, fraternity together, and the man's been a state senator for years and been in the billboard advertising business, which he recently has, after I've talked to him, has just retired from. So he has plenty of time to be busy in Rotary if we can draft him. So we're hoping, and I predict, I'm hoping and wishing that he will come and become a good, faithful member with us. And believe me, I know the guy. He will act like a Rotarian if he does. Martin comes from downtown Rotary, so he's done this before. Please welcome Martin Daniels.
Jim did such a good job preparing an agenda for me, Dan. I don't think I'll go ahead and use it now. So. Janice, come on up.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bruce. This past weekend was a momentous occasion for our Rotary District in that we brought RLI to Knoxville. Maybe they have been here before, but we haven't been here in a very long time. And usually we have to go to Crossville for these classes. So if you taught a segment of RLI on Saturday, would you please raise your hand? You see who's raising her? And what was your class?
Ethics. You know about me? Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I did too. I did club communications and ethics and vocational service.
Yes, and the club communications and ethics was a good class. And yeah, so Patty was one of the instructors. I helped in level 2. There were 5 people in level 2, I believe. And we did fellowships and other parts of Rotary that a lot of people don't know much about. And then if you took the class at RLI, please raise your hand. If you took classes, so it's Callie Vidito, and it was Lorna, and it was Joe, and it was well received. Now, on your table, there are some dates of events happening in the district. And at the very bottom is where the next RLI classes are going to be. And we were told it was going to be at Red Bank Elementary, but it's going to be at Red Bank Middle School. So I changed that. Feel free to take this. You don't have to wait till we come back to Knoxville. You can go to Chattanooga if you'd like, but you can wait, whichever way you'd like to do it. The classes are very informative. We all had a great time. And the club will pay for you to take the class. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. Mobile meals, I delivered mobile meals today. I suggested to all that they remove things off their porch so they don't become missiles and go into neighbors' yards in the next couple of hours. And everyone was very happy that they had their meals delivered. We do have 2 people that are in the hospital now for mobile meals. And we hope they'll get better soon so we can see them in person again. If you'd like to deliver mobile meals, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Patty, are you ready?
I just picked from here and I need to go up there one.
Come on up. So Patty, our foundation chair, has 2 presentations, I believe.
Well, this is going to be really brief. You know, last week I brought up the folks in our club who had decided to become members of the the Polio Plus Society, brand new thing that we started this year. And I don't know how I did this, but I forgot my friend Joe Keithley. So Joe, you want to come up here and get your pen? And in the meantime, we have someone else agree to do this now. Remember, it's $100 a year, a pledge of $100 a year for our #1 priority of eradicating polio. And that's Callie Vidito. So Callie, can you come up and get your pen? Anybody who's interested, please let me know. Sorry.
Any other announcements from the floor? All right, we're going to bring Dave Loon up to introduce our speaker today. Thank you, Dave.
All right, our speaker today is Callie Archer, who's currently the president of Junior Achievement of East Tennessee, an organization that has a suite of K through 12 educational programs that teach the next generation about business, finances, and entrepreneurship. In addition to the LMU Business School Executive Advisory Board, she serves as a Tennessee Achieves Mentor, the Anderson County Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and is currently in UT's consortium for a Social Enterprise Effectiveness class of 2021. She's married to Rodney. They have a son named Cruz, who's 2.5, 2 cats, and 8 nieces and nephews. Please join me in welcoming Callie.
So how much time do we have today? About an hour and a half?
Until he stands up.
I set my timer.
Oh, he's already up.
Time's up. Well, again, I'm Callie Archer. So glad to be here with you all today. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Junior Achievement, so give me a show of hands if you've ever volunteered or come to BizTown or been involved in any way with Junior Achievement. Okay, who wants to come up and do this presentation? No, very glad that you guys have all a little bit of familiarity with our organization already. And then you guys may know one of our board members who was on the board when they actually built our facility out in Clinton. You guys not know a guy named Frank Rothermel? So I figured we actually honored him at the East Tennessee Business Hall of Fame, which there's a flyer for this year's event on all of your tables. And he actually got up at the Junior Achievement event and talked about how rewarding it was to be a Rotarian. And I was like, Frank, could you give us some airtime up there at our event? No, he's fantastic. He actually gave a shout out to maybe 25 of his favorite philanthropies in the area, and it was really cute. But he obviously loves this organization, so I'm familiar with what you all do. So in terms of Junior Achievement, we do have a big facility. We are located out in Anderson County. Gamma Networks has been our IT support. Our joke for a long time has been like if something's wrong with your computer or whatever, unplug it, plug it back in, see if it works then. That's like the extent of our IT knowledge on our team. And so at some point we were like, oh, like we actually probably need some IT support. We have a 20,000 square foot facility. We just finally came into, the modern age with some high fiber network internet. So they've helped make those transitions. So it's been fun. But what do we do in our facility? So it's been there for about 16 years. We have a program that we run specifically in that building called JA BizTown. And it is a mini city for 5th graders to come and run a city for a day. So you're probably thinking, 5th grade, isn't that pretty young? We get that from a lot of our community members. But if you are in education or around that, 5th grade is really kind of where they're starting to lay those foundational skills and attitudes about workforce and what those students may want to do with their futures. So who in here had an idea of what they wanted to do for a career when they were in the 5th grade? I did not. Oh, we got a couple. I like it. Well, now with BizTown, these 5th graders come to our little mini city. They've gone through 10 weeks in the classroom of learning all about the entrepreneurial mindset, rights and responsibility of citizenship, and really how to run a business and some personal finance. So they've already done that in the classroom. I always tell the volunteers that, I'm like, when the 5th graders get here, they're actually going to know more than you do today. The volunteers are just there for moral support. So the kids have already done that. They've applied for and been assigned a job, and they basically have gotten a job offer. So it might say, you're going to be the CEO of Pilot Travel Centers when you come to BizTown. Your pay rate is $9 per pay period. And that's about the extent of what you know, the kids know. We'll have about 125 to 150 students on a daily basis in our facility. So every day is like a little mini event and a day in the life of an adult for these kids. Over the course of the year, we'll have close to 10,000 regional or students from the region come through our doors. which is about 65 to 70% of the 5th grade population in East Tennessee. So we're really proud of that. And, you know, we kind of consider that the foundational career exploration, you know, event for these students, because after 5th grade, in 6th grade, 7th grade, they're really digging in deep to those career, like their aptitudes and skills and career opportunities and career exploration. And then by 2nd semester in 8th grade, they have to decide if they're going college prep or career and technical prep. So again, people are like, 5th grade, you're teaching them about money and careers and starting a business, but they're just 3 years away from actually making some pretty important decisions about their life. So we are firm believers in talking about that at a young age and exposing them to a lot of different opportunities. And so really, kind of our goal as an organization is to empower these students and give them the skills and the confidence to unlock their economic potential. So again, that incorporates all of those kind of topics, but economic mobility is something that we talk a lot about through our organization, because again, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this statistic that 91% of students that are born in poverty will remain in poverty the rest of their lives. So, what are the programs, what are the things that can actually change that dynamic? And one of the biggest ways in the country is entrepreneurship. So we believe firmly in teaching all kids how to, you know, kind of those business foundational concepts, and teaching them about how to start a business. One of my favorite stories, sorry, I have some notes up here, but I'm not following them, but I have some statistics I'm going to go in a minute. But one of my favorite stories in general is about, you may have heard this before, back in 1906, there were 6 miners in Minnesota, and they had put all their money, they were on the brink of bankruptcy, they put all of their money into this mine, and it was worthless. They were coming up with no minerals, nothing. And so all they were getting was sand. And so out of pure desperation, they glued some of that sand to paper, and that was the first product of the great 3M company that we know today. And so they actually say that most of their product development comes from crazy ideas, failures, things that nobody else thinks will work, and that still today is like the #1 source of their revenue, are some of those crazy ideas that they really never thought would work. So, fast forward to today, how do we apply that, and how do we make sure our next generation of workforce and talent that we have at our companies are bringing those crazy good ideas to the table so that we can always have that entrepreneurial mindset? So we always kind of say, we're going to teach you about entrepreneurship. That doesn't mean that everybody needs to go out and start their own business, but it means that they could bring that entrepreneurial mindset to the table in any industry or whatever employer they work for. And so that's really important to our team. So the main ways that we reach students now are JA BizTown. That's our #1 program that we reach students through. #2 is we reach students in the 8th grade with kind of career exploration fairs and one-day events and summits. We couple that with a curriculum, and then they get to go, like Knox County. Who's going to the Knox County Career Fair next Tuesday? Is anybody helping with that for all the 8th graders? Okay, well, 4,500 8th graders in one day will get kind of a crash course of what some of their career opportunities are here. And so we facilitate that event. We support Knox County schools by providing curriculum for them, because we don't just want them to show up and what I call trick or treat and like see who has the best swag. We actually want them to use what their skills and aptitude test said, align what they're really good at, and then find some of those companies that have jobs that they're already interested in. So that's another big way that we reach students. So we reach almost 60% of the 8th grade population in our city as well, or in our service area as well. And then lastly, we have a program that was started in 1919 nationally. We've been doing it here since 1969, and it's called the JA Company Program. And that is where kids, high school students primarily, will start, run, and liquidate a real company over the course of a semester or a year. So that's the company, or that's the company program is what our organization was founded on, and it's evolved into all these other programs today in a lot of different formats because educators need different formats depending on their grade level and how their classes are set up. However, this past year, our team had 36 startup companies that were high school students, and those kids collectively, I think their profits were around $8,000. So again, they come up with a business idea, they pitch it to our investors, which it's community members, it's our team members, it's our board members, etc. We know that they're going to get up to $500, regardless of how good or bad their business idea is. But we normally steer them towards something we think that they can have some success with. And they pitch up for $500 of real money. They get to order real products with that money. And then they have to come up with, they elect officers, they have to come up with a business plan, make sales, they do all of those things, have a real bank account that they have to reconcile. And they have this incredible, like mini little store, experience. And so they really get to learn a lot during that short time. So that's one of our programs that we're very proud of, and we plan to expand that into every high school in Knox County this next year. So we're in 4 of the high schools right now. So we'll probably have more opportunities for volunteer or to sit on a Shark Tank style pitch panel, etc., and help mentor some of those students. So we're really excited about that. One of my favorite stories actually has to do with that program. I guess it was kind of during the pandemic, but when there was the school shooting, the officer involved school shooting at Austin East, does everybody remember that? Well, we had just launched a company, and it was called the AE Runners Company, and this group of students had ordered $500 of socks that were teal and red and had Roadrunners on them. We're like, this is pretty school specific. Not something we could transition and use anywhere else. So we went to them, we said, look, you guys are having a hard time right now. You do not need to feel like you have to launch your company next week. We know we can push it down the field a little bit. These kids had a business meeting, and they were like, if there's ever a time that our school needs school spirit, it's right now. And it gives me chills thinking about it, because we were like, this is your out, you guys are under a lot of pressure. These kids were like, no, we need this. So we were like, okay, well, how can we make it the best business launch ever? And so they were like, what if we had Cokes and candy and giveaways or whatever? And so we're like, okay, we'll make that happen. So we did get some additional investments to make that happen for their kids. So they set up their pop-up shop, and those kids sold $864 worth of Roadrunner socks in less than 30 minutes. Wow. It was like Black Friday shopping. We're like, there were candy and soft drinks and things everywhere. And the kids were so ecstatic. They went on to purchase another round of socks and then sold those out. Then they were like, well, hey, while we've got a good thing going, let's start an online ordering platform. So we partnered them with a local business who taught them all about online orders, fulfillment, and inventorying and all these things. Meanwhile, they were like, our socks, we think we want something a little bit different. So then they sourced some other socks. They were like, we actually want something American made. They're like, let's talk with this vendor out of Colorado. Again, this evolved over the course of 6-8 months. And I have not calculated exactly how many socks that they sold, because I still think that they have some that they reorder and sell in their school spirit store now. But they ended up fulfilling orders all summer long. It transitioned into a school-based ongoing project. So now we don't own that company anymore, because we're like, okay, we're just going to gift that to you guys, because ours is really designed for a semester. But again, gave those kids such a sense of pride, so excited. I mean, and those kids were high-fiving each other when they sold out. They're like, this is the best day ever. So again, you don't get that out of a workbook experience. You get that when you connect students with real adult volunteers and mentors who invest time and energy and hands-on learning, and that's really what we do at Junior Achievement. So those are the three main ways we reach students. We also have K through 12 in-classroom programs. To some extent, we're doing less and less of that because with the pandemic and volunteers going into the classroom, there's been like a big shift in that dynamic, but we're still working on what that's going to look like as we move forward. But we still need adult volunteers. We need sponsorship and resources for all of those programs. We need volunteers to come out for BizTown for a lot of our visits. Like I said, we'll have over 10,000 students come each year, and so that's about 130 days is what it's working out to this year that we have students in our facility. And as you can imagine, we don't always have enough parent volunteers to fulfill all of our needs. So real quick, I'm going to end with some alumni statistics about Junior Achievement, and then I'll open it up for questions for a couple minutes depending on how much time we have. So JA alumni are more likely to finish high school than the general population. They are 30% more likely to have a four-year degree, 67% more likely to have an advanced degree. They have a median household income that is 20% higher than the U.S. median household income. They are 143% more likely to start a business as an adult. And they are more inclined to work in management positions. They're more likely to own a home. And then 88% of JA alumni say that they are satisfied with their careers compared to about 49% of the general public. So this is, somebody asked about our annual report and asked if it was audited over here. And so yes, we're all audited as an organization. These are, I knew when I walked in that this was the troublemaker table. Everybody else is like, mm-hmm. So again, those are national statistics that a third-party, reputable research firm does for our organization every 2 years. So again, these are, this is not just made-up data that I made up based on what I was feeling like this morning, because I can make up statistics for you too. So anyways, we're really proud of the work we do. We would love to have you all involved in one of our events, in one of our educational programs, and we also are open to ideas. So we actually love innovation in our organization. So yeah.
Right off the bat, what you do is impressive, first of all. I mean, I really do believe it's very impressive. But have you guys given me thought to maybe, I don't know what the process would be, but I see maybe a first step, maybe needing to be in the school system as a starter step of what you all are teaching as a mandatory curriculum for the schools, to maybe give them just a little taste of what is there, and then maybe your all's class would be the upper level.
Sure. So he said making Junior Achievement a required curriculum in the schools. So I love that idea. Have you ever worked with a school system? That's my short answer. No. So we actually, our customer are educators and school systems. We work with 22 different school systems here in East Tennessee. So in some of our counties, which I'm not naming any names, but some of them have 3 school systems in one county. So that makes our job really hard. That's 3 principals, or 3 superintendents, 3 boards of education that we're trying to work with. So we actually are, we have a financial literacy curriculum that's one of the approved curriculums for Knox County schools to utilize. We have, like I said, the county-wide 8th grade curriculum. It's all Junior Achievement. So, and we're working on an 11th grade and then maybe a 12th grade, like kind of hiring event curriculum as well, which would be more like students who need to go into the workforce right now, and resumes and job applications. So those are all things that we do. And so Knox County has kind of been the, I'm going to say, the toughest nut to crack, even though it's always been where we serve the most students, just because of their size. They have literally 4,500 kids per grade level. We think that this new administration, we feel like we'll probably be able to get a little bit more done with that administration and with their new regional kind of format that they're using. Because before, we're having to recruit school by school. Either example, we have 75% of Knox County fifth graders come to Biztown. The 25% that don't come, there is literally no rhyme or reason. So it's just because our staff only has so much time to recruit. There's 52 elementary schools. So even if we want to go out and do that, like, we're just limited on time. So we're hoping that as we move forward, and now that we're through the pandemic and then there's a new administration there, that we can work more on some of those really great, like, system-wide partnerships. But you're exactly right. That's the way it should work, but it doesn't always work like that. Any other questions? Yeah?
Kind of bouncing off what he said, there's so many kids graduating high school that have really no financial common sense, and they get taken advantage of. And I'm just talking about just general things like car insurance, homeowners insurance, student loans, those kind of things.
Buying a house.
They go out and do these things, and they don't have the background. And some are lucky that their parents have kind of guided them, but a lot of them are not. Especially like the student loans, they're borrowing money like it's, like in these student loan companies are just pushing this money at them. Oh, don't worry about it. You'll be able to pay it off. You'll be able to pay it off. And they can't. Or they get in some career that has a low wage, and there's no way they're going to pay the student loan off maybe for the next 20 years. But there's a lot of common sense that I wish the high schools would teach, because that's where they're failing.
Amen.
You know, and I don't know why they don't see that. I realize they've got a lot of pressure. They've got to get math skills, reading skills, all those things. But they need to incorporate financial skills in there too, because there's just so many kids that get taken advantage of.
Sure. So the questions surrounding financial literacy in the high schools and how can we do more of that, which I absolutely 100% agree. Fortunately, Tennessee is one of those states that has a mandate that students have to have a personal finance half credit before they graduate. Unfortunately, that was an unfunded mandate through the state. And so the way that that's played out has been, I'm going to say, better than nothing, but not as comprehensive as everybody in this room realizes that it needs to be. And so that, once again, it's a capacity thing. You know, from our organization's perspective, we have been one of the approved curriculums. We do have some school systems that use our personal finance curriculum, because we hit on exactly what you just talked about. And we've got five-week programs for personal finance that just like really just hit the highlights, and then we have semester-long personal finance. And so our semester-long personal finance does not get used that much, because they're like, we've got these Dave Ramsey videos that the school system purchased 12 years ago. This is not an exaggeration. We're going to use those because they're easy, and this guy just explains everything. And so I can just hit play, and that takes care of a bulk of that. So it's not as good as having a professional who has done this or had some life experience, who can go into the classroom and really like help students kind of navigate that and explain the ins and outs of car insurance or taking out student loans or anything like that. So I will say, from our organization's perspective, currently that is not the best use of our resources, although that is always in like the back of our mind of how could we have a really systemic reach across the region, because we do have so many partnerships. We are already serving 12% of the students K through 12 in a 17 county service area. So is there an opportunity that we could serve county or grade level wide in our region with something like that? We are constantly asked that, and then the flip side of that is credit unions call us. They're like, we have a financial literacy program that we want to get into schools with. Can you help us? And we're like, you know, so people in the finance world, very well-meaning, they want to give resources to their customers and the students, but it makes it hard because everybody has their own approach. And so then they're like, oh, my daughter's at this school, and I'm going to, you know, teach this curriculum there. So there's just more competition, I guess, in that, but nobody is doing it well. Any, one more question, or I won't talk that long?
Any other questions?
Okay.
Thanks so
Well,
much, Callie.
if you want to take our annual report with you, you can. If you want to get involved, just let me know. Would love to hear from you all, and we'll see you around. Thank you.
Callie, as you might have heard earlier in the program, we do a reading program at Pond Gap Elementary School. We go every Friday and read to the children over there. But we also provide a book in honor of our speakers. And so if you would sign this book, today's book is Keeper of the Lost Cities Flashback. And it contains a special extra scene.
Thank you. I like that. Thank you.
And we also have.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I am not reading this book.
We'd like to thank our guests today, Aubrey Vidito, Susan Mosier, and Martin Daniels. Thank you for coming. Hope to see you guys back here soon. And who has Smokey? Front table right here.
Four-way test, things say or do. First.
Is it the truth?
Second.